Hang on, I'll get in a second. I know y'all love the faces I make in my pictures. My thumbnails. I prop you up in an old hurricane lamp. In case y'all are ever wondering why it is so difficult to get you situated. It's because you're in an old hurricane lamp. And the hurricane lamp is like 100 years old. And it doesn't always cooperate with me. Long time no see. I have been busy helping to prepare for gender reveal pictures, getting used to being a Mimi in the head, you know, kind of just trying to get used to things. Oh, yummy. I need to finish my violet jelly video and post it. So, hey, Justin. So, I need to get everything out. I have just been so busy, and busy's good because if I'm busy, it normally means I'm feeling a little bit better than normal. Actually mowed today. Like I sat on the mower and mowed the whole yard, which, you know, I mean, it's a riding mower. Let's not, you know, let's not think I'm too, you know, up with, you know, it's a riding mower. It's not like I did any physical labor. But for my body and the disorder I have, that is a big deal. And as you can tell, I have some color to my face and actually kind of burnt my forearms today. But I've been out since the weather's been warmer, and the sun has been helping me tremendously with the inflammation and everything that I'm dealing with. So I just feel better. I knew as soon as the sun amped up and it warmed up here, I would feel better. I just wanted to share, David has got two of these ginormous, these suckers are as big as my head. These are two of his new ginormous, I call them hidey holes, but he calls them jewelry boxes or trinket boxes. I call them hidey holes because you can hide stuff in them and people would never know. Now, I just got these Mod Podge, so they're not as forgiving to open and stuff as I'd wish right now, because they have to dry and shrink. I think this one's adorable because it has a knot on it. I'm weird, I know. I think this one's adorable because it has a knot on it. But these are obviously bigger. And I will put a leather round in the bottom. And they obviously hold more stuff. He finished these. So we have had some bad news this week. David went back to his specialist on Tuesday because his shoulders, and he's just not been feeling really well. His shoulders have been hurting more than normal on his elbows. Of course, you all know, y'all see the trees he cuts down and the things he does. He's like freaking Superman. But he's just not been feeling well. So he went back to the specialist, and his Lyme disease, the blood work came back, and his Lyme disease is suppressed again. The little first round of antibiotics worked. It's pushed back, doing great. But the man has Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Let me tell you about Rocky Mountain spotted fever. A tick literally only has to crawl across you to give you Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It doesn't have to bite you. It just has to leave a trail of that crap on you. And you've got to think, someone that has logged his whole life, has worked in the woods, as ginseng, has hunted and run a fur trap line, occupational hazards. So they said, well, it's the Rocky Mountain spotted fever presenting from where you got sick this winter. It just kind of took over. So he has Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's just like, the doctor looked at him and was like, there's only one more tick sickness you can get, and it's the easiest to contend with. Would you like to go ahead and get it? And David's like, no, I don't think so. So, but he's doing well. The doctor said that his body was actually fighting it really well. No need for a PICC line. And the antibiotics, the lower antibiotics seem to be working well. So I'm really tickled about that. Let me crumple this up here. I had those sitting on wax paper where I had been letting them dry. Okay, so I've also started wrapping some of these canines. Now, the smaller the tooth, and the more you have to wrap. So this is, let me find my camera again. This is the bone that I started with, and I want to put it in a pretty cage. Oh gosh, have we been busy? It's just like, I don't ever remember praying for patience, but I think I did because I'm learning some patience. And I don't remember praying for patience. But I started out with this little bone right here. And I wrapped it, and with wire wrapping, half the art is making spirals and stuff. So I wrapped that little one, and this is the earring for this. So this is going to be its mate when I get it done. I love the spiral at the bottom. Them little suckers are hard to do, but I'm learning how to do it. Now, when I do these big dangly ones, they will have a lot less wire on them because obviously it won't take as, they're bigger, so it won't take as much. But I'm still going to add some spirals around them to make them pretty. And now, since it's not raining and not cold again, I can leave my windows open and I can finally do my resin work for the canine pendants. So I have to be able to have my windows open and everything working really well that day. I am most excited about these two teeth and turning them into dangle earrings because I think they're going to be just gorgeous. But show you what I have been doing. So this is the start of a lamp. It's got pearls. It's got faux pearls in the bottom, and then it's got a Cody spine. And what it's going to do is it's going to have a lampshade. I've got to find the lampshade that I want to put on it. So it's going to have a lampshade on it. And then on the top of the lampshade, I saved the rest of the backbone to put as a finial on top of the lampshade. But under the lampshade, it's going to have those fairy lights all wrapped up and through the lampshade. And it will plug in. So it will be a pluggable lamp, but it will have the tiniest copper cord that you won't be able to see. And so this is gorgeous. This is going to the Morgan County. Hey, Priscilla, I love you too. This is going to go to the Morgan County Fair when I get it done, or the festival, the first weekend of May when I get it done. So I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done and just trying to, I don't know, get caught up. If Denise sees this later, Denise, I've been weaving my little heart out. This thing wants to be so intricately woven. And I fussed with it, but it wants to be intricately woven. So I'm on my 5th round and I'm already having to use the little plastic needle. It wants to be a very intricate, tight dream catcher. So I should have that done in the next day or two. But I'm doing a lot. If you remember the tree of life that I did and wrapped, I've got more of these. So they're coming. These finally came in. It takes forever for some things to ship, y'all. I know I'm rural, but I don't think I'm that rural. So I've got the appropriate size for the tree of life, the real, because I did the other one on a split ring that should not have been used. It was like a split ring keychain. But the lady that bought it, she wanted it, so she got it. And I've got all my new wires in for wrapping. And I mean, I'm just busy. I've got lots of stuff going on. I'm doing great. I do have these closure earrings for the next round of earrings so that I think they call them the Lewis hook, so that it completely closes. It's not a fish hook or a shepherd's hook. So I'm excited about that as well. And I've just been working on lots of stuff and staying pretty busy. And I actually even went to the store the other day, which amazed my husband. I went to the store the other day. Went to the dollar store, because the dollar store is where I can plunder. I like to plunder at the dollar store. I found lights that you can sync to your music. So I'm fixing to turn my front porch into the most atrocious discotheque for my neighbors that there ever has been. And I'm fixing to list some more of these keychains. We've got coyote. We've got 3 coyote. Looks like a fox. And then I've got, I've got 3 coyote and a fox, and then I've got some other stuff to use in my dream catcher. So we are moving right along. David's been working, even though he doesn't feel good. He's been working, and he's been working hard. He just, bless his heart, doesn't feel very good at the end of the day, but I think he's just gotten so used to it that he just carries on. So bless his little heart. But I had an opportunity to be visited by someone about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. And I was just amazed at, I don't know, I'm a trusting person anyway, but I'm also well armed. So, I don't have a lot of fear when people say we would like to meet you. I kind of feel you got to do a little background. If you're honest with me, that goes a long way. But I really had such a good vibe about this person. I was like, sure, absolutely, I want to meet you. They were willing to make basically a 10-hour loop. She felt she had something that could help me with my health. And I don't know I've got the camera at a strange angle, I know today, but I don't know if you all can tell, but my skin tone is like so much better. Now I did mow the grass, so my eyes are a little fuzzy, a little puffy right through here. But my skin tone's better. You can still see the dimples in my nose. I'm not swollen. And I feel pretty good. I look like I've been through heck. I'm doing really good. Now, she came down and she does a lot of like the Reiki, the Eastern medicine stuff. And I have no like deterrent toward any kind of aid at this point, because as you all know, Western medicine has done absolute crap for me. So I will take all the help I can get. And she came in and she has a lot of the same, like the neurological, and that creates the wrong nerve synapses. She has those. Hey, Denise, I left you just a little message just a minute ago, but I'll show you again in just a second. But she came down and kind of introduced me to kind of a different form of like an energy healing and Reiki healing, and like making sure that you have the right like I'm taking the right supplements, but making sure that you also surround yourself with the right things. And I've always thought it was funny that they get water from the ground that has minerals in it. Like when they check our artesian well water and our springs and stuff, they have all these great minerals in them. And I love drinking our mineral water. But when they sell it to us in the store, they take the minerals out, but then they sell us the minerals back as supplements. So why do they take them out? I never have understood that. That's always been like, why did you do that? Well, it was because it was a monetary gain, obviously. But she showed me how she uses like quartz and fluoride and moss agate and all these things to work together, and it's like an energy field. And I was like, heck, I'll try it. I have nothing to lose, and and she's like, I'm not like a witchy. She's like, everything I do is, she's like, from God, and she's like, everything I have here is what God created, and I was like, I'll try it. It's like, I'm open. I don't have any bad feelings about this. I'll try it. Within 2 days of her dropping that stuff off and setting it up, and y'all know I've been on antibiotics how many times in the last 2 years? How many times have I been on antibiotics in the last 2 years? And my head still never gets emptied. In 2 days, I had stuff coming out of me. I don't it came from. It was like, honestly, I'm just gonna be gross. It was like dried mustard out of my ears, and it was like, where is this stuff coming from? And you all know that I have the one eustachian tube that is not draining, and it's kind of calcified, and it's just kind of stuck, and it's just it barely will work, and most of the time it's just because it drains down and around, or it comes out, and it doesn't really work. And I went back to the doctor 4 days after I'd seen her. 4 days. And my eustachian tube was draining. He goes, how's your eustachian tube draining? It was not functioning. It was like it was calcified and not functioning. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, we were fixing to like put you in for tubes. He's like, how is this happening? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I've got a bunch of big rocks in my house now that surround where I sit. And I said, I wear a moss agate pendant. And I said, spend a lot of time basically with when I sit in the recliner, I've got all these big rocks, and I just kind of tap them with my feet and rock it, because it's a rocking recliner, and rock. And my body has just purged everything out of it. Look at this, people, everything out of it. And I feel a lot better. And I've changed nothing but what this woman brought, and she rearranged a few things for energy flow, like they do in feng shui or whatever. I don't know what she did, but whatever she did worked. So I'm gonna roll with it, because I'm appreciative. Denise, I was going to show you this. This is wanting to be the most intricately woven thing ever. I fussed with it, saying, no, you don't want to be that intricate. No, you don't. No, it wants to be. I'm like 5 or 6 layers deep, and I'm already having to use the little plastic needle, because it wants to be such a small weave pattern. And I'm like, oof, because these are it takes time, but that's fine. It wanted to take time. That's fine. And so this is the main frame. And of course, it's going to have some other stuff on it to hide where I've got it wrapped to weave. But this is going to be one of the most intricate and small weaves that I've ever done in my life. And my husband came home and he said, my Lord, you're never going to get that done. And I said, he just wants to be difficult. So he just wants to be difficult. So I'll let him be difficult, but he will be done here soon. I sit down, and I've been sitting down and watching like the old television dramas. Up with the hiccups. I think I was watching The North and the South last night when I was weaving. It was the weirdest thing. It just wants to be difficult, but it's coming together. It's coming together, and I've got all the stuff to put on it. I've just got to get that weave done, and that weave just wants to be extremely tight. And who am I to fuss with it? Y'all know I just follow however they want to come out. Now, I am going to be making, here soon, a pocketbook, because I got on Etsy and saw that there was a girl that had made a pocketbook and had glued, very happenstance, glued a fox head to a pocketbook, just a tan fox head. And it sold for like $134. And I was like, because it looked like something a kindergartner had put together. And I was very irritated with that, because if you're going to make something, make it look nice. So I showed a picture to my mom, and my mom said, did a kid make that? And I said, exactly. I said, no, a kid did not make that. An adult made that, and that's ugly. And I said, so I'm going to make one, and I'm actually going to make a leather purse with a liner. It's going to have a magnetic closure, and it's just going to be a simple purse, and the straps will be put on with Chicago screws and D-rings, because it will be leather. And it's going to have a flap to close, and the fox's face will be the flap, and his nose will have the magnetic closure to close. But his shoulders and neck will go all the way over. And I have a tail. I don't know if I'm going to attach a tail to it. It just depends on what it looks like at the moment. But I've decided to, since I drug out my gargantuan sewing machine, I decided I have to make a fox face purse because the ones I've seen on Etsy are horribly done. I don't know why anybody would buy them. And she sold hundreds of these. And I'm like, I don't know why anybody would buy these things. But I'm fixing to make one. I'm fixing to show this young lady how to sew. Because that was, ugh. I have no problem with people that like to craft. But make sure that you know your craft and you do it well before you start charging people $134. I mean, you all know how me and David feel about people that price gouge. It's great to make some money. Like we sold one of our Cody tail key rings today. And that's yay. That's 15, 16 extra bucks in our pockets. He sold 2 coyote pelts last week. That's a tremendous help when he has to go and see a specialist, and because he has to go 2 counties down and 2 counties back, and the blood work is like $173 every time. It's just the lab course constantly just like got me on speed dial. And so anything is helpful, anything's beneficial. Oh, and I got a call back from the local doctor's office when I notified them that they were billing incorrectly. And rather than them get in trouble, they said, oh, no, we'll remit all of this. We'll fix it all. Don't. We didn't know. And I thought, as long as you're going to fix it, I won't get mad. Just fix it. So they called yesterday, and I tried to call her back today, but she was already out of the office because she works from home, the billing lady. And apparently they have money for us that they overcharged us for the last year and a half because they were billing illegally. So as long as they want to make it right, they can make it right. I'm not going to fuss about it. They can make it right. I just appreciate them making it right now since they, I told them they may want to hire something besides 17-year-old girls just out of high school so that they know how to bill. I hope it's like $6K, right? It probably will not be anywhere near what we need to pay that bill. But I'm like, come on. Can we please? But any little bit will help, kind of pay towards something. So, because we still have the ambulance bill, and I've been paying on the ER bill. The ambulance bill, David knows the people, so he had 3 big trees to cut down. And he ricked him out. And this is my husband with Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, working a full-time job. Somebody's cow just bawled. I'm sorry. But he's got a bayonet. He got all those trees down, cut up, ricked out. And they're going to dry. And this lady's going to pay for them and haul them off this winter for winter firewood. She has really no one else to cut firewood, but David swears he's getting away from the firewood. But he was like, that's the easiest way for me to pay that $1,000 ambulance bill. So I said, go ahead and cut your daggum tree. So that's what he's been doing in the mornings, is cutting trees and ricking up the wood, busting the wood. And so we can pay that bill. So they're being very patient, and they know that when they get paid, they'll be paid in full. So they're fine. We know them all. They want us. That's not a problem. It's the people down at Livingston Regional that I told we just needed to be on each other's Christmas card list because we're going to know each other for that long. And the lady that does the billing does not like my attitude at all. She is not friendly at all. But that's okay. I'm going to keep being nice to her. And eventually I will win her over. Or irritate her to where she passes me off to someone else. It's win-win. But we've been doing lots and lots and lots of stuff. And mostly the reason I have been MIA is my body went into purge mode. And just everything came out of me. I was amazed. Somebody has a cow out. Anyway, I was amazed. And then we had the gender reveal stuff going on with Lane and Kaylee. Haley came home. Boy, I tell you what, my son married Kaylee. My daughter's name is Haley. Tongue tie. But they have almost decided on a name for the baby, if anybody wants to know. Y'all are gonna laugh your butts off. I mean, this is just you're gonna be like, so expected from us. So expected from us. So who votes yes to know the name? Because you're gonna laugh your butt off. Because you already know that David's a fur trapper who, whatever pops out is going to be probably traipsing through, with him, learning how to, follow crossovers from beavers and otters and water slides and track things and learn how to, watch out for things to be dangerous for, but learn the woods, learn how to be careful but aware. And then I'm sure to be up a tree at some point because of Lane. It's not gonna be Hunter. Right? It's because it's a little girl. We're gonna be having a little girl. I'm actually thought Remington would be a good option too. But since we have a Kaylee Ray, and her middle name is Rae, then they're going to name her most likely Ellie Mae, Mae. And I just thought that was hilarious because I know that this little kid is going to be dragging every critter home that she can find, is going to be traipsing back and forth. She's going to be fishing before she can walk, probably. And I mean, and it's funny because when we raised Haley, I very well could have named her that as well. We were down at the pond fishing one time, and up at the house, Daddy came out and he had a whole a Dominica rooster, and yeah, that's how they're gonna spell it. Oh, Everly would be so pretty. See, Haley's middle name is Genevieve after my granny, so I like those old timey names. But we were down fishing, and Dad was up at the house, and this big old Dominica rooster came after him and flogged him, was up on the back of his head. And Dad had put the rooster on death watch because it had been flogging everybody and everything. He just turned mean all of a sudden. And so Dad was like, that's it. Donna, bring me my shotgun. And Mom brought him his gun, and we heard a big kaboom. And, of course, then the chicken immediately stopped moving. And Haley, my daughter, was standing next to us that was fishing at the pond, stops, looks up the hill, and yells, "Are we gonna eat it?" So I imagine that my grandchild will probably be very much the same. My granny's name is Oma Genevieve. And we never called her Oma. We always called her Genevieve, unless we wanted to be irritated to her and be like, "Oh my God." And she'd be like, "Stop doing that." And so she always wanted to be called Genevieve. But yeah, so, and we had chicken and dumplings because, you don't waste anything. So that's just kind of the way it works around there. We had chicken and dumplings. But I assumed that this little munchkin is going to be raised much the same. And y'all know how wild Lane is. And he was a handful to raise. Geneva Gertrude. Oh, that's nice. They were thinking about naming her, what was it? Nella, which was Lane's middle name is Alan backwards. So, and that lasted for all of about 2 minutes because then I said I was going to call her Nella Wafers. I killed that name real quick. But we're excited. We're tickled. I think it's going to be a precious little baby. I hope it comes out with auburn hair. I hope the auburn hair is strong enough to come out because Kaylee's got really dark black hair. She's got Snow White hair. And I'm hoping that it comes out with dark auburn hair because we've got a lot of strawberry blondes and blondes in our family because of the Scots Irish descent. And so I'm really hoping that we keep a little redhead going. But I also know that Kaylee and her brother both have dark hair. And so I don't know exactly what color we're going to get, but, I think it's going to be the cutest little thing because both of them are just adorable. So, anything mixed with them is going to be adorable. But if it has Lane's attitude, Lord help us all. So I'm very lucky that I have a friend of mine in the next county over that has a baby or has a grandbaby just 6 months older. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to need, I'm going to be able to buy secondhand from her, and I'm going to know where it came from, and it will be clean and usable. And so I'm going to get a swing and some clothes, just some stuff, that grannies need to have. Wheels and a chainsaw. I wouldn't put it past. He may very well teach her how to do that. Now Haley can chainsaw. Haley can chainsaw. It was one of those things of, please do not teach your sister that, and because I said please don't, they did. I feel a lot better, Jitsi. It took a week of really just absolutely having stuff just pour out of me. And I was amazed at how immediate the response to this stuff that this wonderful lady brought to me. She, and it's just rocks. It's just things that are around you in nature that we're not as close to as we need. I'm probably closer than most, but I don't think I had what I needed to heal. And she's done a lot of work and a lot of education, a lot of she's so smart. I mean, she's just so smart. And she was like, she was like, this is all for you. She's like, this is free. She's like, I had someone teach this to me to help me with my health issues. She said, I got into it. And she said, just kind of got really, really educated and really, really good at it. And she was like, this is going to help you. But if it doesn't, she's like, I'll come back and get everything. And she said, if it does, you just keep it. The digestive issues have been better. I've not had any pancreatic issues. I've not had as many bowel issues. So right now, everything seems to be functioning better. Of course, I've been drinking a lot more water, and I've been drinking, because she told me this would flush me, so I've been drinking a lot of electrolyte charged water and alkalized electrolyte charged water. But yeah, the sun helps so much. Just be out and the sun helps the inflammation, and my vitamin D, which sucks on a good day, it helps so much. So that has helped some of it too. But literally within 48 hours of this stuff being put in my house, the first night I felt it. Because my feet were hot the first night. My feet are normally always like icebergs. And my feet were warm. And I was like, man, what is up with this? My feet are never warm. My feet have not been cold at night since we put these things in my house. Since we put these rocks, these quartz and fluoride and moss agate, and I couldn't tell you all of them. I mean, I just got so many of them. Just spread around, and you don't really notice that they're there unless you look for them. So they don't bother me. Oh, Crohn's disease. See, that's what they were worried about me for a long, long time, because that's what it acts like. But it was just the RSD just kind of affecting the workings of my gut. I feel for you. Bless your heart. So I have not had cold feet since this stuff, since these stones were laid in my house. And I'm doing really good. And the lady that did this, she was so sweet. She's like, these are yours. She's like, you bring us so much laughter and joy that this is just what we wanted to do for you. And I just was I was very sweet. Felt like I'd known her forever. It's just strange when you feel, you meet people and you're like, I have known you for a long time, but I don't know you. And just one more thing. I'm telling you, I got to where I was getting so much bad news all the time. It was just taking it out of just taking the wind out of my sails all the time. And it was just too much. And that's when I kind of drew away from Western medicine, because Western medicine, there are some things they're really good at, but what they're the best at is creating customers. And I didn't want to be a customer. I don't want to be a customer. I want to be someone that gets better. So yeah, we still have like 20 things in the store. We've sold a few things, and we had up to like 21, 22, and then we had some stuff hit. I actually did somebody sent me a request on Etsy through Etsy to do a shipment to Australia. So I actually sent my first thing because I had to check what you can send and paperwork and stuff. So I actually sent the first thing to Australia. Am I going to do that very often? No, not at all. But this person really wanted one of David's furs. Used to live over here, moved over there, really wanted a fur, and so we made it happen. But it's not something I'm not gonna ship over there very often. I'm gonna keep the shipping to the 48 here. I think I've got it on North America. Because that's just the simplest for us, especially with all of the paperwork that you sometimes have to go into different countries. Because it's a tanned hide and it's been tanned and it's been through a chemical process to kill everything, it could go to Australia. They're not as strict as some places, but there are other places that we can't ship to because they're afraid that there will be like live organisms come through. So we just have to watch and make sure we know what's going on. We still are not going to be able to do the bobcats. Some of the more specific critters that need the tags because TWRA still has not figured out who is going to run this circuit since we lost our beloved game warden. So we've just kind of pushed those to the back of the freezer, and we'll probably handle those later in the summer or fall. We try to get them done in the spring because they're better sellers at the festivals and stuff, but because of the circumstances and an untimely death, we certainly understand what they're going through, and we're not going to push and make somebody have to travel 2.5 hours, the one way to come see us to put 3 tags in something. So we've just pushed them to the back of the freezer. We're just going to be quiet about that until they get somebody else set in place, and then we will get those tagged and get those sold. So that's kind of what's been going on in Air World. I have been just super busy. I've been super draining and snotty for a few days, and then as soon as everything came out of me, I was just fine. It's the strangest thing. But you know something? I mean, I have to say that this lady that did this for me, I think she did me a solid. I think she kind of taught me, I've always been super open-minded. My mind may be narrow, but it's open at both ends. That's what I tell everybody. My mind may be narrow, but it's open at both ends. And so she just did me a huge solid of opening my mind to a different healing method, a different way. And and I know that the things you find in nature are super important because we use a lot of bloodroot and a lot of yellow root and a lot of ginseng, and we know that all that's very important. So it wasn't a big stretch for her to just come in and show me how important this other stuff was. It wasn't difficult at all because I do understand how important these minerals are to your body and just being near them. Like I said, I like to go barefoot because I feel I'm grounded. And if I don't go barefoot, I really feel like I'm missing something every summer. I feel like I've betrayed Mother Earth somehow. I have to be barefoot some every year. Okay, Jamie, it's good to see you. I'll be looking forward to that. Let me tell you, I'll be looking forward to that. And since I have a new phone, we'll be able to catch the immediate reaction of Dave. So that'll be fun. But I'll be watching for it. And thank you very much. Also, my 2 quilts are put together. I've got everything over here. The pinwheel quilt, I had to do a pinwheel and then a square around the first pinwheels and then put the extra pinwheels in to make it big enough to be the size I wanted it, but it's still going to be a pinwheel quilt. It's just going to be a patched pinwheel quilt. which I think it's going to be pretty because I kind of like, if you're like me, I like the weird things that nobody else has. So they get dropped off. I was going to drop them off Monday to her, and she has been out of pocket with family. She's got grandbabies that have been sick, and she was out of pocket with family. And so I told her that was fine, and to just yell at me when she gets back. So I'm supposed to tomorrow, most likely, take those by and drop those off. So the pinwheel and the big quilt, Denise, will be dropped off tomorrow. It normally is a 7 to 14 day turnaround for 2. She's really quick. She's really good. Well, I have to pay her before I can pick them up, so that may be the clincher. But she's really quick, and I'll get them picked up ASAP, and then I will notify everyone when I get them picked up, because I know these 2 basically are already spoken for. So I will notify on community page, and I'll wait for the ladies to yell at me, and then I will work out the Etsy timing so that you all can get them bought and get them home. Oh yes, oh that's good. Thank you, Denise. I remember you saying that now. Okay, we'll do that then. As long as you're comfortable, it's fine with me. Of course, you know, I think you know me enough now to know that that's not anything you have to worry about. So that'll be fine. That will be absolutely fine. I'm super excited about Denise's quilt because it's one of the biggest masterpieces that I have ever pieced in my entire life. And I'm very, very, very excited about it. I have not put the corner blocks. The corner is so big. You trust me. It's so big that the corner blocks are going to have to go on as she quilts it, because it's so big here. I don't have a big enough space to lay it out to get my corner blocks square. So she's going to have to put my corner blocks on for me as she quilts it, because I don't have a big enough kitchen table or bed or anything to put it out to get my corner blocks to be square. So, but she's a really sweet woman. She always helps me with stuff like that. So it tickled me for her to say, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. So I may have to go up one day and help her and make sure that she gets it all done, gets it done right, because I don't want her to struggle with it like I would have, because let me tell you something, I would have struggled with it. But she's just great. She's done quilts for 50 years, nothing but quilts for 50 years. And, you know, and the patchwork, okay, the patchwork quilt, the lady that wanted the pinwheel, the pinwheel quilt is going to have 2 different types of pinwheels. And they're both pinwheels. But when I make pinwheels, depending on the material I have, they sometimes come out different. But I had pinwheels from, and this is the amazing part, I had pinwheels from where I had bought a bunch of fabrics from India. I love the colors, the bright colors, the different dyings that they did. They dye their stuff differently there. And I just love the colors that they put into their fabrics. And so I was just, all the time when I could, I was ordering fabrics from over there. Of course, now you can't hardly get them because the stupid things never unload. But I was fortunate enough to find a lady that had a fabric store, and I bought several rounds of fabric from her. Watch me smack myself in the face wrapping this wire while I'm talking to y'all. And I was just tickled to bits when I found her. And I bought probably for 8 months. I bought little just scraps. I mean, I'm talking scraps, like fat quarter little scraps of stuff from her, and bought them. And just kept having her mail it to me. and I was making these really loud pinwheels. Well, I was thinking about making like a little baby quilt, and so I made a pretty big square of pinwheels, and then I put an edged border on it with all the colors. And I set it aside, never did anything with it. Well, then, me being who I am, because I get bored, my mind changes every day. I decided, hey, wait, I could do this. And so I started adding more of the pinwheels around the outside. And so it's got a really intricate, a really strange pattern, but it lays, when I lay it over my daughter's bed, it lays so pretty, and it showcases all the colors. And I thought, well, I really like that. If that were my quilt, that would be what I would want it to look like. So I just kind of left it that way. And I thought, that's what I want it to look like, and that's what I want it to be, and that's what I want it. So I left it like that. So it is going to be, but you will get pictures of it. And if you don't want it, then don't buy it. So if you're not completely happy with it, do not buy it. Denise has already been able to see more of hers because it was like 90% done. And I just needed some special blocks to go on it. So Denise has seen more of hers than what other people have seen. But if the lady with the pinwheel, if you don't like it, just let me know, and I'll just put it up for sale and someone else can buy it. Because I don't want anyone to ever buy anything from me that they don't want. I want you to get it and, love it, and have, good fond memories of the, crazy lady that made it for you. I don't want you to have bad memories. I'm trying to do 2 spirals in a row, and I'm about to drive myself insane. I do want to ask each and every one of you to check out a channel called Celebrating Appalachia. She is an award-winning vlogger. She's just up the hill from me, the next state up. She does amazing videos. She has the time, clarity, and patience to make them very pretty. Sometimes we actually do stuff on the same things and we crack each other up. Like we had both talked about edible stuff at the same time, and she had been talking about how she was eating out of her hosta garden, and I was like, I do that too. I was like, I pick my hosta spears when they come out of the ground too. So, but she's got a great channel called Celebrating Appalachia. So if you can, go and support her. She is just a beautiful woman, and she's just, she knows what she's doing. And she does a beautiful job keeping Appalachia and its way of life alive. And her family's a beautiful family. They play music. If I could get my family together, we would play some music. My father's hands are quite arthritic. But if I can get Mom to where she's not absolutely just worn out with Granny one day, I could get her to sing some a cappella. And we could sing some old hymns for you. We used to sing in church. Not going to say we sound the best, but the good Lord never complains, so I don't think he will either. Or if you do, you can take it up with the good Lord. That sounded horrible, didn't it? But we used to sing a lot in church. My family had a little gospel bluegrass group. And we sang a lot. There was one month, I spent 31 days in churches singing. I did more homework in churches than I did at home. And I would have to sit on the back pew and sneak and do my homework, and then run up and sing when it was time for us to sing. And then have to run back and very quietly try to finish my homework so that people, didn't notice that I was doing homework because it was disrespectful. But I had to get my homework done, and it was going to be 11:30, 12 before we got home. And I graduated high school with a 99.3 or 99.2, or no, it wasn't that. It was a 92.9. That's what it was. Boy, I get that backwards. Make me smarter than I think I am. But I did more homework in church than I did at home. And it was always funny to me, because all the kids were like, "You're never home." And we'd drive by your house and there's nobody ever home. And I'm like, "No, we're always at a church function somewhere. That's just how, it's just what my family does." And they're like, "Why are Ian's always at church?" And I'm like, "Because my dad's a preacher and we sing and we get invited and hired to sing in all these big shindigs and stuff." Yeah, you can, when your hostas spears start coming out of the ground and they look like little asparagus sprouts, when they start to come out. You can pinch those off and you can put them in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes at 350 and drizzle them with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Or you can eat them raw. I just eat them raw. If I'm weeding and I see a hostas spear, I just grab it and put it in my mouth. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I eat sassafras leaves too, like they're going out of style. My husband thinks I'm crazy. But no, my husband's just as bad as I am when he comes across certain things. You can eat hostas. Everything that I showed you in my video the other day was edible. The dead nettle, the violets, the dandelions. Everything I showed you was edible. We've got a bunch more edible plants around here, and it's just knowing the plant and kind of being taught and being comfortable being taught by somebody that you're comfortable being taught by about the plant. And I just grew up following my grandma and great grandma around the yard, and when they would nibble, I would nibble, and we nibbled. Look, I did that while I was talking to y'all. Isn't that pretty? I got to straighten my hook up at the top. So yeah, I ate a lot of stuff. I would always get in trouble because when the tomatos would come in, I would go hide in the tomato patch and eat the tomato tomatoes. And my mother she loved to make those into chutney and salsa. And she would bust my butt, but I'd get right back out there in the tomato patch and I'd go to eating because they were good and I was going to eat them. So that's just kind of how we got raised. But yeah, your hostas are 100% edible. You can eat them like when they're open leaf and stuff. You can fry them. I don't think they taste as good because when they come up as the little spears, I think that's the time to pick them. Just snap them off. The plant will shoot another right back up. It's not going to hurt your plant at all. Your plant will go, well, crap, and shoot another right back up. You can eat them raw, but you can also put them in the oven about 350, 400 for 5 to 10 minutes. So, season them as you want to. A little bit of olive oil. And they taste remarkably like asparagus. And we are an asparagus and Brussels sprout family around here. So they taste remarkably like asparagus. And that's, I don't know, that's just how we've always rolled. We eat. My kids were the same way. They would run out through the barn lot or through the apple orchard and come back with a handful of God knows what, eating it. Haley always loved to eat the dandelions and the dandelion leaves. And Lane would go after whittling sticks and stuff like that. So you never knew what my kids were going to come back with. But you can eat the stalks, cattails that grow at the pond. You can cut the stalks at the bottom and eat those. And, they're pretty much just filler, but if you were hungry, it would do. So my grandpa was he was just really wise about the land. And he was a farmer. And so when he would take us out, he would, sit over to the side of the pond and watch us fish. And next thing we know, he would pull a cattail up, chop the head off, peel the outside off, and start eating. And I was like, and so that's what I would go over and I would have to try it too because I was Grandpa's little shadow. So that's what I had to try too. So we're weird. I don't guess there's any other way to put it. We're weird. But there's a lot of alternative food sources out there, and it's a shame to me. It's like they don't want you to know that there are alternate ways to have, to get a meal. Somebody's heifer or cow or something has lost its baby because she is just a wailing. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but she's mad. She's bound to have lost her baby. Misplaced it, or it's got out from under the fence and can't find where it got out to get back in. And I'd say Farmer Smith is running amok because we do have a big black bear running around through here. Well, she's mad. She's mooing like, I mean, she's mooing to say, you better get your butt over here because this is not funny anymore. That's the moo that I'm hearing. She's just a little scared too. You can hear it in the pitch of her moo. So yeah, farmer must be trying to find the baby. Oh, that was the bull. Well, maybe he's got something in his field. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I sure can. Dandelions are great. Just the whole plant's edible. You can pop off the little yellow tops and batter them up and fry them. You can get the leaves and wash them and put them in salads. We do that a lot. I mean, it's all edible. Plantains. I use plantains around here as Band-Aids. We don't have a lot of Band-Aids normally. We just are not a Band-Aid type family. We're a super glue type family. But when the kids would cut themselves, I would say, go get me a plantain, and they would go pick a plantain and bring it back to me, and I would chop another one up, put on it, and wrap around their foot, and then tell them to stop being stupid and stop, walking where they weren't supposed to walk. And so my kids went barefoot a lot when they were little, so they would test the theory of, oh, sure, I can walk on this. There's not metal here. My kids had tetanus shots so often, it was pathetic. Now I hear coyotes, so there may very well be a calf out that the coyotes have got and that the mama and the bull can't get to. That's not a good sound to hear. But I mean, he's got big German Shepherds and a Rottweiler and a cab over tractor. He could roll out there and take care of it if he's home. So I can't get in this field, so I can't help. I hope he doesn't have a calf. Got Dad has lost 2 this year to that big freaking bear. Been about a 500-pound big old boar bear come through, and he had 2 calves. He had 2 cows calved, and both the babies disappeared. That's a lot of money for a farmer. A lot of money for a farmer. There's someday I'll sit out in the back and let you hear this. Oh no, let's just roam out and see if we can hear this. Oscar, you stay. No, you stay. I hear a muffler now. Hang on. Did you hear that? Hear that? You hear him bawling? Y'all hear that? Suck cow, suck. Yeah, they got a problem going on. If they was hungry and you holler "suck cow," they'll just shut up and they'll come to dinner. If they keep a bawling, they're telling you something's wrong. So something's going on over yonder. And I don't hear any four-wheeler or any farm tractor. So, ooh, and a Dropkins. So, so I don't know what's going on over there, but something's got the cows tore up. So I may let you go and call Farmer Smith and see what other crap has got his cows so irritated. And I'm trying to get a stupid ring out of this jewelry pack, but I may just have to stop and try another time because it's irritating me. I don't want to open it. The predators are horrible. The Codys have bred with rogue dogs, and they just keep getting bigger and less scared of people. And when they breed with domestic dogs, then when they whelp larger litters, so they have more. It's more for us to contend with. You just have to drink when I'm talking, don't you? Okay. And yellow frogs. We have a lot of frogs in the pond and swamp over there. But the coyotes they're big as timber wolves around here. You've seen the hides that David gets. That's why his hides sell. They're so big. They're so much bigger than the average coyote, but they are coyote. And every once in a while, we even get a black coyote, which is extremely rare. And when we get black ones, we take a snippet of gum, hair, and skin and send it into UT. Hey, I'm doing much better. I don't have on any makeup, but I just wanted to jump on and say howdy, but I'm doing much better. I think David wants to try to do a live again this weekend to check in. He's just been busy. I think he misses y'all now that he's got used to talking to you. So they've calmed down now. Maybe they found the baby. Sounded like they were looking for a baby, or they were trying to circle and keep a predator off a baby. They've calmed down now. But he wants to do a live and pop on and say howdy and visit, and because he feels like it's been forever, but we were just so busy. Just so busy with grandbabies coming into the world and everything else. We were just so busy. And then I had to have a few days where I just had to let my body purge when this lady brought this Reiki energy stuff to me. I just had to let my body purge, and I feel so much better. I have a eustachian tube that hasn't worked in like 4 years. It's working, and my doctor is flabbergasted. So I'm happy. And the Etsy store is doing really well. David is really proud of his store. He's really proud of the people. Everybody's giving him great reviews. They love that he takes the animal from snare to tan, everything. He cares enough about the animal when he harvests it to do everything with it. So they love his coyotes. He's gotten such great reviews, and all of his keychains have gotten such great reviews. Everybody's just been super pleased. We did decide this year to send the beaver hides off to a professional tannery because we want to do other things than just hoops, and they are so difficult. That's where he spends a whole lot of his time, is trying to get those broken down to where they're thinner, and it's almost impossible with a beaver hide. It's so, yeah. Coy dogs are supposed to be killed around here. If you see a coy dog, you're supposed to notify game warden, and you're supposed to take them out because coy dogs are supposed to be. It's also illegal to have one, and if we harvest something that has a more of a dog paw print and more of a dog muzzle, then we do skin and hair biopsies and send them in so that they can So the TWA works with my husband, and they send him like 17 pages of stuff in sample bags, and he sends it in. So he helps them understand what is going on here. I actually think the gray wolves are breeding down here already. Like they say they're making their way. I think some of them are already here, because a lot of what we caught last year had big, huge line manes. And coyotes normally don't have the big, huge line manes. They have big frou-frou tails, and they have good dense fur, but they don't really have the normal line, like the big thick lines mane around their necks. So it's bad. Yeah, the cows were, I mean, carrying on. I mean, we have some farms that calve late. Like my dad calves late, so he's got so many that his calving season goes to, it probably go for another, oh gosh, 4 weeks or so. But he's got so many, and so he, spraddles them out. And but it was that bawling at this time of night was not normal, because they normally get fed before sundown, and that was an aggravated help somebody help. So that bothered me. I don't know if you live around here, you know how cows talk, and that was an upset cow. It was an upset herd of cows. I miss Ryan too, but I have to tell you, oh, you got a weenie dog. Oh, and see, you're gonna have to send pictures and let us. You gotta let us know what it looks like. I miss Upchurch too, but I'm just glad with all the crap that he's had to contend with lately that he's getting some time alone and he's taking time for himself. And I really wanted that interview, but in the scheme of things, his happiness and his peace of mind and his safety is more important. I'm sure if he pops back up, I'll be like, interview, and he'll be like, okay. But I really think it's good for them to have some time and just be a couple and build their home and have quiet time and focus on their relationship and all those things that we take for granted that he cannot do. So I think it's great for him, and I'm happy for him. I'm really going to miss him because his content was what kind of kept me sane on the nights that I was having really bad neuromuscular nights. But you know something? I'll find some other person to distract me. That's fine. I will say that I think his music is going to change and become phenomenal, because now that it's the only communication, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be as much. I think he's going to be so focused on the content, on what he's saying, because that's going to be how he actually speaks to us now, that it's going to be fine-tuned, and we're going to actually hear some amazing, amazing lyrics. I really don't think he'll be able to stay away from it for too long. But he's belligerent, so he may very well. The boy has a mind of his own, so I just hope whatever he chooses to do, he's happy, because I know that it's been a struggle. Bethany was a great thing for him. Bethany made him happy. Bethany really helped him, but I just hope that he's happy. Yeah, well, and they, for some reason, the beavers and the gray wolves, and they've all been moving down. And I don't know if it's just because of so many people, the population, and they're losing certain habitats, or if they're following the water, because the waterways are changing. If they're following the waterways, I don't know. But yeah, there's been a whole lot of stuff move south that is just like, why are y'all moving? We don't need you here. We have enough. Like, we don't need anything else that is big and can eat us. We're good. But there's just been a lot of stuff. I know that the big British Columbia, the big blonde British Columbia beavers that are huge. Our Tennessee beavers used to be like 40 pounds max. Now, since they got the British Columbia ones down here breeding in, they're like 85 pounds. Like 60 to 80 is a normal size beaver now. I think the biggest one we caught was right around 92, something like that. The state record is like 111, 112. But yeah, everything's moving, and it's weird how everything's shifting, and it's weird. Like, we've had, you normally have dogs that will you get a rogue group of dogs that will run. We've got a rogue group of dogs around here that are running. and they didn't join in with the coyotes. They're just running, but they're running the farms. And so everybody that connects, we're like, okay, they're dangerous. They're killing livestock. And so we're all, sad to say, but they've gone rogue. They will not listen to people. They will not come up and be fed and be caught. We have no humane society here. We have no dog pound here. We have no animal control here. We're rural. We have nothing. But they're terrorizing the farmers and the livestock, and they've taken down, I think, 2 or 3 foals and some cattle. And so the police department's like, kill them. And so all of us that are land all touches, we're all like, we got our trail cams up and we're monitoring. And we're waiting to take them out, because a road dog is actually more dangerous than a coyote because they have no fear of man. And so we're just trying to, and one of them is a huge Great Pyrenees mix. And Great Pyrenees are not normally mean dogs, but when they choose to be mean, it's a problem. They're real mean. So we've got a pack of about 4 or 5 that are causing some really big issues. And the sheriff's department has been like, take them out. They're like, we've seen the dead carcasses from the livestock, take them out. And so we are in the process of trying to take them out. And we're all trying to coordinate and monitor, and we try to watch trail cams and say when we saw, and, see how they're moving so that we can catch them, because, they'll eventually move from livestock to children, domesticated pets, and then they get in people's yards, and then they go for kids. And I get so... Yeah, when Pyrenees go rogue, they get nasty, and they're big enough to be, it's like Cujo all over again. But I get tickled with people that live in the city, and they're like, why do you need guns? Why do you need to protect yourself? And I'm like, we're not top of the food chain. Not here. We're not. So I don't even like to leave my windows open up because I'm afraid a freaking black bear's going to crawl in. So, it's just, the wildlife here has just doubled. I mean, the numbers have just gone crazy in the last little bit, especially the black bears. And they will just meander up the siding of your house and just climb right through your window, right through your screen, and come in your house. And that's not anything I want to have to deal with, But the predators here have just gotten a little crazy. Yeah, the numbers have gotten up. And a lot of it was TWRA were trying to allow black bears to get healthy enough for a season. Well, they did not anticipate them breeding as quickly and as, ferociously as they did. And so we've got some big, 500-600 pound big boars out there that just kind of look at you and go, I dare you. And, we don't play with that. We don't have a lot of rabies, but I'm here to tell you, if you ever see an animal shaking its head or going in circles, walk away, because it is either rabies or it is a neurological issue. Either way, you don't want to be around the animal. Walk away and go call somebody that can terminate it. And a lot of people don't understand that. They feel sorry for the animal. They see it going in circles. They don't understand that it could be one or the other, and you don't need to be around it either way, because they become very defensive when they are sick. And somebody on TikTok the other day was like, oh, this poor fox, and he picked it up. And I was like, you idiot. Even if it's not rabid, it's got neurological issues. And if it's got neurological issues, it could be a bacteria form of a neurological issue. And are you an idiot? But he picked it up. And I was like, oh my God. So, but people just don't understand. And I wish I could do a seminar on country living and be like, this is what you need to know to survive out here in the sticks. But the shameful thing is that city people do not, people who live in the country have to visit the city quite often. But people that live in the city don't necessarily have to visit the country. And so they don't think that we really exist until they're forced to have to really meet us head on. Yeah, that's good. It was probably blue tongue, that CWD, chronic wasting. People just don't understand, and people are like, "Oh, you killed it." Well, yeah, because we don't want it to make the thousands of other deer sick. And it's like, yeah, we killed one to save thousands. That's what we did. Now, chronic wasting has not been a huge issue here, but we have a rather, because we're on top of the plateau, and because, you know, deer do not like to live in the upwards and downwards areas on the mountains. They like to live in the valleys and in the nicer slopes. Since we have to climb up the mountain to get to our top of our plateau, our deer herd is kind of isolated, which is not a bad thing. So we don't see as much of the chronic wasting as other areas because we are so isolated, because they just don't want to climb the mountain to come up here. It's just not worth it. You know, an animal looks at the hill and goes, oh, let's go 4 days without food to get to the top. It's just not worth it. So we're a little bit isolated, so we don't see as much as the other people. But if you ever see an animal that is bouncing its head, doing repetitive motions, or going in circles, that is either rabies or neurological damage, and you do not need to be around that animal. Walk away and find somebody to terminate it. It is dangerous. Oh gosh, yeah, that would have been horrible. And you feel sorry for them, because, you know, a lot of the problems that a lot of the wildlife have are because in certain areas they allow them to overpopulate because people are fighting back on hunting seasons and fighting back on numbers. And what a lot of people that are anti-hunting don't really understand is that healthy populations kind of self-correct. They don't breed and spread as much of this crap. They keep themselves in check, and they're stronger, they're healthier, they have more food, they get more nutrients, they get more of what they need. They're not battling, you know, 5 times as many creatures to get what they need. But if you have a herd that is too big for the land and they're not getting all the minerals and all the food that they need, they have a weakened immune system, and it spreads. Anything that starts just spreads through them because they're weak. Their immune systems are weak. And you try to explain this to someone who doesn't want to hunt and doesn't want to keep numbers in check, and they just can't wrap their head around it. But if you can ever take them and show them a deer that has, we call it blue tongue, because what happens is it basically it has so much water in its head, water on its brain, and it's basically its brain fills up with water. It gets these huge cancerous lesions. Everything swells. Its tongue swells and hangs out of its mouth. It can't eat. It starves, and it goes crazy. And it will sometimes grow these huge cancerous nodules all around its head, in the front of its body, and I mean everywhere. And once they see one that is actually suffering, they're like, oh, I get it. And we're like, yeah, now you get it, but you didn't want to get it until you saw the misery. People, you shouldn't have to see the misery. If you're smart enough to educate yourself and read and look at pictures and look at data, you shouldn't have to see misery up close and personal to make an educated decision to help these animals. So, oh, and coyotes are the worst, because when they're rabid, they're still very, very much in attack mode. And they will still stalk and hunt, because, you know, they'll shake their head and, you know, do a few circles, but if they can zero in on their prey, they'll still come after you. And it's just, coyotes are the most vicious. I watched a video of a hunter. He was up in a tree, and he had a rabid coyote that like treed him for 8 hours. And he was like, it wasn't going to go away. He's like, I was deer hunting thinking the stupid thing will go away. The stupid thing will go away. You know, it will get out from under my tree so, you know, I can get a shot at it. Or for 8 hours, it was just tearing the bottom of that tree apart. I mean, all day. And finally it was dark, and he was like, I've got to go home. I forget, he threw something off the tree stand and out into the woods, and it was dark, and the coyote didn't know what it was. And when the coyote heard that, he threw his spotlight on and shot it. And he got home safely. That thing stalked him at the base of that tree. And you could see the tree. It had like torn the bark off the tree trying to get to him. And I was like, thank God you put your tree stand up higher than most people. So, but it's scary. These animals are not pets. They're not they look at you as potentially a food source. And I never forget that. Yeah, elk. And elk are like freaking cows. So when you get an elk that's sick and mad and frothing at the mouth and going crazy, that's a freaking, 1,200 to 2,000 pound animal that's coming at you. No, we just don't need to play with that. Yeah, he was hoping that it would wander off out from under him. He could shoot it during the daylight. But he said it just sat and just clawed at the tree and just jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped. And the way that the tree stand that he had, he could not get his rifle down. And I thought, no, I would have found a way. But when it got dark, he threw something out into the woods. Of course, the coyote couldn't see that he threw it, didn't know what it was. And when it ran, he put his spotlight on it and shot it. I don't know. I mean, there's been many times that my dad has set me on a stump when I was 12, 13. Yeah, he set me there with 7mm, but he set me there for hours saying, I'll come back and get you, about dark, and we were just deer hunting, just trying to put meat in the freezer. And I was left at 12, 13 sitting on a big stump, cut off in the middle of the woods with my back to another tree, waiting for something to come through that could be dinner. I could have been in a pickle then too, but I was raised to be aware. But it really, and I used to not be annoyed with people that didn't understand. But now that these people are in such attack mode for people that have my lifestyle, I get really annoyed with people that just do not want to understand how fragile country living can be at times. Because when, there are times I take out from my house, I don't know what I'm going to come across. I had a black bear on my porch last year. Oh, honey, I used to hunt hogs. That was our bread and butter. Hogs ruin more land than anything. They tear up more land than construction. They are the most horrible, unnecessary, volatile little land grubbers that don't need to be. They need to be in a farmer's lot and they need to be butchered every year. That's the only place they need to be. And you get hold of those, Russian, and the way you can tell a wild boar from a domesticated is a Russian boar. A wild boar will have almost a straight sloped nose, and a domestic hog will have a dished face nose. And they get to be 400 to 600 pounds. Those wild Russian ones that they release out through here, and people release them. Stupid people release them. And we've got massive hog hunting around here because people released them. But we used to have a hunting lodge. And so it was a fenced hunting preserve. So our bread and butter was the big Tennessee terrace hunts where we had like 400 plus pound hogs that we would hunt. And they'll kill you. If I had to come across a black bear or a hog in the middle of the woods, I would choose a black bear. Because that hog has got 2 surgical blades right here that will take you apart and bleed you out in 5 seconds. So it's good eating though. If they don't stink too bad, they're good eating. I think the record for the wild hog was 608 pounds. Now we had a wild domestic mix that topped right around 800-900, but he was domestic mix, so that's how he got that big. But now for just this, the wild Russian, I think it was 608 pounds was the record. We had to weigh them on the scales at the co-op because they were too big. But my brother's hunting lodge has got like 2 in the top 10. He's got 2 of the biggest ones in the top 10. So, see, I have no use for snakes. And right now it's copperhead season here where I am, so you always check where you're going because they'll get up against your house at night to stay warm. I hate snakes. I have no use for snakes. Hate them. You do not like them at all. The rattlesnakes are not super bad here until you get into the craggy hillsides and mountains. But copperheads will go roam everywhere. I have got a black snake that I have kind of allowed to live at my barn lot. His name's Ernie. And I let Ernie live here free of charge. I'm nice to Ernie. I will even throw Ernie a mouse or something. Like if I'm mowing and hit a mouse, I'll be like, here, Ernie, and throw Ernie a mouse. Because black snakes, literally eat and they kill and eat every other kind of snake. So I've had Ernie here for 4 or 5 years. He actually has showed up in some of the pictures I've taken over at the barn lot. He'll get up beside people that are posing and stick his head up like, "Cheese," and I'm like, "Ernie, you're freaking people out." But he's that used to us. He's that comfortable with us. And he's getting big enough now that he's being quite the protector. And so we've not seen another snake besides Ernie here in 3 or 4 years. And so I love Ernie. I appreciate Ernie. I still don't want to be too close to Ernie, but I appreciate Ernie. But now, copperheads, rattlesnakes, no. Now, I used to live in Carthage, Tennessee, and the guy was blasting for his basement. And you could just look out every time he blasts, you could look out, and there would be big rattlers just crawling across my driveway going to the cattle fields. And I was like, oh, no. No. And that's when you put wire mesh over your dryer vents, and you just worry about the way that they can get in your house. I just don't care for snakes at all. I just don't like snakes at all. But I tolerate Ernie, my black snake. And he's sweet. He's never chased anybody, never bit anybody. And he's got a pretty good personality on him, so we just kind of let him go. And when we start to mow, we go over there and stomp around and try to look for him because we don't want to mow over him. And so we kind of stomp around and let him know we're fixing to be mowing. And he normally goes and gets in the barn, so he hides in the barn. But we're nice to Ernie because Ernie is, black snakes. They keep all the other snakes away. So we let Ernie live here rent-free. And he doesn't cause us any problems. And he stays in the barn lot for the most part. He has come over to the fence line and investigated, but he doesn't come over to the house. He stays over toward the barn. So we make friends with our black snakes. Black snakes are great things. Now, I will say that black snakes, when aggravated, will bite the far out of you. And they're hateful. But if you can get along with them, they'll keep everything else out of your yard, your barn lot. Now, my grandpa had a huge, 5+ foot black snake that had lived in his barn for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And every year we'd find the skin and it would be longer and longer and longer. And we were just mesmerized by this huge snake. Well, when I moved back from Carthage after my divorce, I was fishing on the dock and my brother came down. My brother was like Grizzly Adams. My brother is one of those weird people that you don't want. If you meet him somewhere, you walk away. He's strange. He came up behind me. He goes, "Look who's watching you fish." And I said, "I know." He stuck his head out from under the well house a few times and said, "He sees me." He goes, he's all out now. And I turned around. That black snake was kind of coming up on the dock. And I was like, "Don't you do it." I was like, "Don't you do it." And I was trying to reel in my bait because I was going to pop him on the head with my fishing pole. My brother came out and grabbed his tail and was dragging him back. And he said, "Watch this." And my brother started swinging that snake around his head like a rope. He said, "Listen." And he popped it. And you heard the snake's neck crack, and the snake never moved. It never moved again. And I was like, okay, that was an education. And then I looked at him, I was like, "Dad's going to be very mad at you that you killed the big black snake that keeps the barn free of rats and everything else." And he's like, "No, he's been getting grumpy." And he's like, "He fell out of an apple tree on Mom the other day, and Mom had ran into the house, and Dad was like, 'I'll kill the stupid thing.'" So Matthew just killed it. But that snake had to be, it was pushing 6 foot at least. That was the biggest black snake I'd ever seen. He was not very nice. He was getting big enough to think that apparently I was a food source, and I'm a big old gal. But he was aggressive, and he would get up in the apple trees to go after birds, and then you'd be mowing, and he would just fall on you. Like he just wanted to hello, scare the crap out of you. And he fell on Mom that day and scared Mom to death. Mom ran in the house, and that's when Dad marked him for death. And so Matthew done it, but I never had seen that done. I'd always heard that you could snap a snake's neck. I'd never seen it done, and my brother did it. Now, am I brave enough to try that? No, because I'm not going to get that close to a snake because I don't like them. I've held snakes, I've held pine snakes, and when I was little, I would catch baby ringnecks and play with them. But when I got old enough to develop a healthy fear, never again. I don't want to be nowhere near. That's all. I just don't want to be nowhere near. But no, we do tolerate our black snake, Ernie, because he keeps everything else away. The cows have stopped bawling, so whatever was making them mad is moved on, and they must have found their baby, so they're fine. So I'm not worried about the cows anymore. But I have got to make a lemon cake because it's 10 o'clock and my husband will be home soon. And I promised to make a lemon cake. And then I will try in the next couple of days to get the rest of my jelly making video together. I just have to edit it all and trim it all and put music to it and get it posted. And then we'll get back to the normal videos again. I just needed a kind of a few days to let my body purge everything out of it, all the snot that came out. And David had some doctor visits, and then we had the gender reveal for the baby. We were just kind of busy at home. So I appreciate you giving me just a little bit of downtime to deal with everything here. And but I'm doing good. Doing really good. Actually got a little bit of a sunburn on my arms today. So maybe tomorrow, if I feel like it, I can take my little roller cart outside and I can sit, and I've got a thing that you can push in the ground and twist and it pulls the weeds. Maybe I can get some of my weeds out. All of my azaleas, except for my lavender azalea, all of my azaleas are blooming except for my lavender. So I'll try to take pictures of all my azaleas. My lavender will bloom in a couple weeks. It's the last one always to bloom. My lilacs are blooming, and my lilacs are over 6 feet tall this year. So, but they're blooming hot and heavy right now. I'll try to get pictures of those. I've got tulips blooming, and my irises are starting to head. So everything's starting to come out here, and it's starting to be springtime and pretty, and that helps a lot too. So I'll try to share some of that with you. But yeah, I had a big day. I mowed, I've cooked, I've crafted, I've done a bunch of stuff. So I'm quite satisfied with myself, and I feel like I've had an upswing since the lady visited me, and I'm just eternally grateful that somebody shared their knowledge and their wisdom, especially because wisdom and knowledge about health issues is not readily shared. You know, they want to say, "Oh, you're not a doctor." Oh, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But this is, this is just what worked for this person, and it's not. I haven't consumed anything. I just set rocks in my house. And she did like an energy thing and a feng shui kind of thing, and and I had no great expectations, but I'm actually quite amazed at how my body has reacted to this. When I know it's been that because nothing else has changed, and we even went through a cold snap where I should have felt worse, and my body was still purging and doing much better. So take it for what it is. I'm just guess I'm gonna live with my huge rocks in my house for and they're pretty, like they're pink and white, and quartz and rose quartz and green fluoride and what is it, hematite, turquoise, halite, just a whole bunch of stuff, and stuff that my grandma would always have in jewelry, and I have jewelry with smaller portions of these on them. I just had never had any of the giant pieces in my house. So perhaps I'm going to try this for a while and see if it works, because weird things have worked for other people. I might as well try it. I'm going to be crafting and doing a few things. I'm going to be doing another giveaway. I did mail, I did a 25, I downloaded one of those code generators that counts comments, and the 25th lady that commented, I replied to her, but she didn't respond back. So then I went to the 24th. She did respond. I mailed off the little Highland cow ornament to her. I'm going to be making something else, and we're going to be doing another giveaway potentially after David and I's live. I may start the code generator and do a random number, and when it gets to that number, it will tell me whose comment was that number, and then I'll notify that person. If you respond, I give you like 24 to 48 hours. If you respond, then I send you what you won. So we're going to be doing some giveaways. Don't quite know what I'm going to put together for this giveaway, but we did the Highland cow ornament the last time. It's probably going to be something. I may do a tree of life. I may do one of those tree of life and send it out, or I may do I don't know, I'm going to be doing some sewing. So I may do like a framed quilt square. I may do an intricate little quilt square, or I may do a intricate quilt square like pot holder and send to you or something. So we'll do a giveaway, whatever I come up with, whatever I make. But you have to be here to see me and David. We're going to try to do it again on Saturday or Sunday. I will try to let you know tomorrow by lunch what day, because it depends on his work schedule, what day we can do it. I'm hoping he does not have to work this weekend, but probably will. But I'll let you know tomorrow by lunch which day looks like we're gonna be able to do it. And whoever joins in, and then I will start the comment counter, and from that video and all the videos that I post, it will count the comments, and then when it gets to the number that I select, it will tell me, and that's who will win the prize. And so that's how I've been doing that. And I hope the lady should have got it by now. I will email her. We've been in email contact. I'll email her back and make sure she got it. But every once in a while, it's nice to send something out because I know you didn't spend so much time with me, and I appreciate it. It's 10 o'clock. I've got to make a lemon cake. And I've got to weave some more on this dream catcher. And then I'm going to go to bed when David gets home. But I appreciate your time. Thanks for giving me a little break to get some stuff done here at home and to get some health stuff, going in a better direction. I'm doing much better. I'm sure you can tell from my face I'm doing much better. As sick as y'all have seen me, I know y'all know this is my healthy face. Without makeup, without anything, but it's still my healthy face. So things are going much better right now in my neck of the woods. And I know y'all send me prayers and good vibes, and I appreciate it. And we have got someone that has joined in on our lives from time to time that is very ill right now. And I don't want to mention her name because I want to keep it private. But if y'all could just toss up some good vibes to a very special friend of mine. She's always been a super supportive email. I mean, if I'm feeling bad, she emails me. She's not doing so well right now. So if anybody, just cares to toss up a good vibe to this lady and send up a prayer, send up good vibes, just send up some good energy. I'd appreciate it. She's not doing well right now. I am in email contact with a friend trying to make sure daily how she's doing, but just kind of send some energy her way. If you send it out, Lord knows who it's for. He'll get it to her. But I'll keep everybody abreast of that situation. But we have a really good family, and I appreciate you. So I think I'll end on that. And the cows have shut up, so apparently all is good in the neighborhood again. I'm going to make my lemon cake, and then I'm going to weave my dream catcher, and then I'm going to go to bed. And I will see you all hopefully tomorrow evening with a new video. And I will notify you via community post when we're going to be doing the live with Dave this weekend. So love you all. Thanks for the well wishes and prayers. And I'll see you again shortly. Bye, y'all.